We are back. Another deal breakdown. We're back at the countertop, the lovely kitchen. Break down a deal that I just closed a little over a week ago. I closed the deal, made me $30,000. $30,000 assignment fee. It was lovely. And I want to break it down for you guys. I want to share how I closed it, where I got it from, the process of it, and how maybe you can go out there and make 30 G's on wholesaling a property. All right, so let's break this down. Let me tell you how I got the lead. So all the lists that I pull, non-owner occupied, multifamily, mobile homes, are all out of PropStream. If you guys want to go check that out, propstream.com. Makes it pretty easy to filter out lists and pull them. Normally what I do is I go to PropStream, I pull that list, and then I put it in a Mojo dialer, or in this case, I put it in launch control and send texts. So yes, this was a text lead. And the list was non-owner occupied mobile homes in the northern Arizona area. That's where the list came from. I put it into launch control, which is a SMS blast website, and it's a little pricey. It's about $500 a month. And to be honest, it hasn't been the best for me. I haven't been getting the best luck. Texting in general is very filtered right now and very regulated. You have to use a lot of different type of words to send text. You can't be using consider, offer, deal, property, anything like that, because it gets flagged as spam and it won't go through. So you got to use all these weird filtered words to make sure that the text sends through. So I'm going to post up a little screenshot of the text that I sent. John was his name. And great guy from the East Coast, New York, loves the Yankees, little New York accent, which I really liked. As you can see, there was 4 separate texts that was sent to him. So what's cool about launch control is when you send a text and they don't respond, they automatically get put into a follow-up campaign where you can resend messages to them. First one was sent on August of 2024, and then the one he finally responded to was in March. And that's when he said, I'm thinking about selling. So immediately when I saw that, I jumped on it. So this property, it's a mobile home, really beat up, built 1973, little less than 900 square feet, 2-bed, 1-bath, not a lot going on. So banks won't loan on mobile homes before 1980. So this one, built in 1973, I had to factor that when I go into negotiating, because if a buyer goes and buys this property and fixes it up and relists it, I have to be aware that a normal conventional buyer, maybe a family that needs a loan, isn't going to be able to buy a property like this. It needs to be a cash purchase, okay? Mobile home was in Chino Valley. So you got Prescott and then you got Chino Valley, which is about 15 minutes north of Prescott. More ranch style houses, more kind of sparse land, a lot smaller than Prescott, a lot of farms, ranches over there. Beautiful area, kind of reminds me of back home in South Dakota. A lot of deals to be done over there. Lots of land, lots for building up mobile homes, stuff like that. A lot of potential over in Chino. I have good luck over there. His name was John. He texts me back, I'm thinking about selling. Immediately I get on the phone with him. First conversation I had with him was in March, okay? Now, about this property, the renters are in there. He's got renters in there. No lease agreement with the renters. So he's had these renters for a while, and he's kind of just done dealing with it. He told me he wants to retire. He's done checking in on them, tired of maintaining the property, stuff like that. He just wants to take the profits of it and just retire and get out of it. A lot of situations like that come up when you're wholesaling. A lot of sellers, landlords in this case, just don't want to deal with the headache of renters and make sure the property's always in good shape. You don't got leaks, stuff like that. They don't want to deal with it anymore. And they're willing to sell quick because they just want to get out of it and they want to take the profits. They know that the property isn't in the best condition. That's why we try to target these. The seller knows that it might not do well on the market, so it's going to need a cash buyer, especially since it's before 1980. It's going to have to be cash and it needs a ton of work. So he just wants to be done with it. So I try to get a little ballpark price out of him, and he told me that he had an appraisal done on the mobile home, and the appraisal came back at $65,000. But he said, He came back at 65, but he does not expect to get that price because of the condition of the place, right? And I knew right then, I'm like, okay, we got something to work with here. So I ran the numbers on it. So there was a mobile home right next to it that sold for $150,000, same style as this one, all fixed up. So I knew that the property is worth $150 if you go in and do the necessary work to it to fix it up. Now the question is, how much is it going to cost to do the necessary work and make it look, get it on the market and make it look ready to go, right? So I figured it needed about $30,000 worth of work. Carter, how did you come up with that $30,000? So it's really just a ballpark estimate. I'm not a contractor. I'd like to say I've done a lot of deals here where I can kind of figure what things are worth. You know, it's a smaller property, so I'm thinking it doesn't need too much. I'm gonna pop up a little screenshot of my mentor Brent put for 2025 updated repair cost, and I believe it sits about there. It needs work. You know, I can't break down exactly what everything cost, but I'm gonna put that little rehab estimator in there of how I got the 30,000. I kind of just go off square footage and really just, does it need work? Is it light? Needs a lot of work? Average? Needs a ton of work? I kind of just figure it that way. I'm not very good at repairs. I figure if it needs a new bathroom, that's about $5,000. If it needs a new kitchen, that's about $10,000. If it needs a new roof, you know, that's another $5,000 to $10,000. Things like that. So I try to keep it simple and just of a ballpark estimate. If it's worth $150 fixed up, I take off 30%. So I times it by 70%. It takes off 30% for profits for the end buyer, closing cost, holding cost, and dock fees. Because if you're a wholesaler, you're paying all those costs, right? Notice things now, you need to get them at a deeper price. Normally it was about 80 if you could take 20% off, times it by 0.8. So my equation was 150 times 0.7 minus 30,000 repairs. I think I could sell it for 70 to 75,000. He said he had an appraisal for 65, but he doesn't expect to get that much. So right there, I'm thinking we got some room here. We got a little spread to make some money on it. So on March 18th, I said, meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m., lock that baby up, do research tonight on comps. I go up to Chino, right? I meet him face to face. It's just me and John at the property with the renters in there. And he was pretty timid to let me in as a buyer. So I think I told him I was an insurance agent to get a quote for some insurance that he wanted on the mobile home. That's what I came up with because he was scared to let anybody in. So I'm like, and if you guys need to do this, if you're looking at a property, but the seller's like, I don't want to scare the renters because they think I'm going to sell it, whatever, you know, it scares renters because they'll probably eventually have to move, right? So I'm like, just tell them I'm an insurance guy. I'm getting you a quote on something. That's what I did. I showed up like I was an insurance guy, took a bunch of photos, blah, blah, blah. The renter and John and me are sitting outside talking. You know, I'm waiting for the renter to go back in the house so me and John can actually talk about a purchase price here. Eventually he goes back inside and then we chat. Didn't really talk a lot of numbers before I went up. All I knew is he had a ton of motivation. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore. And the price point seems to be pretty fair, right? So if you guys are dealing with, first off, motivation, go on the appointment, right? The price doesn't even need to be there. It was just bonus because he gave me the appraisal and I had an idea, right? I had a ballpark. But if they have a motivation of, I want to just get out of it, I'm tired of maintaining it, I'm tired of dealing with the renters, stuff like that, go on the appointment. You're probably going to get it locked up most of the time. So we're sitting outside and we're chatting by his truck. I'm like, John, perfect world, what price would we want to get for this? You know? He's like, well, 55 would really be great. And before I went up the mountain, up to Chino, my goal, I want to try to make 20 to 25,000 on every deal, right? So I had 70 to 75 as my sell price. I'm a little timid because I had a couple deals already fall through months prior just because I didn't get them low enough. So I'm like, gosh, if I'm thinking that, maybe I need to get it even lower. So if 25 is my standard, right? 25 is my goal to make, and I could sell it for 70, I would be at, you know, about 45, 50. He says 55, right? So if I can sell it for 70, that'd be at 15,000. So my goal going up was to get it at 40 or 45,000 was kind of my goal. We're chatting. We're at the truck. And he says, yeah, I'd like to get 55 for this one. Pushing to him that, hey, if I would buy this and I would fix it up, I'm going to have a limited number of buyers when I go and resell it, you know? And with the market the way it is, I just don't want to take any chances. I have to try to get it as low as possible just so I have room there when this comes up, you know? And it's true. It's true. I'm not BSing him. He wants 55 for it. I know that's probably a deal, but it's still tight. And at this time, I didn't know that this was going to be a pretty good deal at the time. I just wanted to get it as low as possible. That way I could give him that price and actually come through for him. What I came back with was $40,000. $40,000 cash, John, paying all your closing costs, all your doc fees as is. I'll get it closed. I'll take it over. I'll deal with the renters. They don't even have a lease agreement, so we're going to have to give them 30 days to get out of there. It's non-financeable, but I'll go in. I'll take the risk of paying cash. I'll fix it up, and hopefully I can get someone to come in cash and buy the place. He said, well, the wife wants 50 at least. And that's the worst thing you want to hear when you're negotiating is what the wife wants, or I have to talk with the wife, or the wife says this. It's a tough thing to get over. I'm like, 50's the lowest, John? And he's like, that's what the wife wants. And I'm like, John, let's give her a call and let's meet in the middle at 45,000. 45,000, I'll be ready to go. I got an agreement in the car. We can get her signed up and get it going for 45. And it's just me and John there, right? His wife isn't there. So we give the wife a call. John gives her a call. She's at work. And he's talking. I can hear her talking to John like 50, that's the lowest. You know, we don't want to take any lower than that. And I'm like, John, let me talk to her. So we put it on speaker. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? You know, this is Carter. I drove up. I'm a local home buyer in the area. Thanks for letting John let me in and take a look at the place. But yeah, I was talking to John. You know, it's built in 1973. Anything older than that, it's just non-financeable. It's a little bit more risk for us buyers to take, to go in and fix it up. It just limits our buyers. So we just try to get it as low as possible for that buffer. And the way the market is, I just don't want to take any risk right now. So I get that you want 50. So I did offer John 40. I know you're at 50. I told John if we could meet at 45, we'd be able to get something going. I can sign a purchase agreement today. You know, and then she started to loosen up, kind of drop her guard a little bit after talking with me. And then she talked back to John, and I kind of let him talk a little bit. And he hangs up, and he said, all right, she's good at 45. So I had a purchase agreement in the car. If you're going on appointments, guys, bring a purchase agreement just in case. Had a purchase agreement in the car, on the hood of his old Chevy, and filled her out for $45,000. And obviously his wife wasn't there, and she's on the deed, so she did need to sign it. So I signed it, John signed it, and then she was going to get off work later that night and sign it. So what I had them do was just, as soon as she did, they just sent me photos. She got off work later that night, I think about 8 or 9. They texted me the photos of the purchase agreement, both signed, and we were ready to rock. And I was pretty pumped. Got the deal locked up at $45,000, an old junker mobile home, but I think we got something here. What I did that night is I went into my notes app. I always go in my notes app and I type up a little text blast template to send just to a few of my good buyers around the Prescott area. Just the address, the photos I took, you know, the bed bath, square footage, lot size, and a suggested price. So the suggested price I used was $75,000. And what I mean by suggested price is when I send out any deals, I do a suggested starting price because it gives the buyers kind of a thought in their head of, okay, this is suggested. It might be higher. It might go higher if buyers bid up, right? I sent it out to about 5 or 6 buyers in the Prescott area. I made that template that night, the night I got it locked up. And then in the morning, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, I sent the text out at $75,000, right? Just because of that comp that was right next to it that sold for $150, I was pretty solid of my numbers. So if a buyer bought it for about $75, he would have room there to make a good profit on it. So, and the buyers want to make 12 to 15%. On a property like that, I figured more of the 15% end. Or price, they want to make more on the profit. I had a buyer call me immediately. immediately. And this is where I might have made a mistake. He called me. He's like, Carter, what can you tell me about this deal? I love it. I can go to the title company right now and put earnest in right now. And what I do for all my buyers is I make sure they put $5,000 non-refundable earnest money into the title company. That way they're serious, and I weed out any buyers that are flaky. I make sure that they put that in within 24 hours of the assignment getting accepted. And he said, I can go, I'm running into town right now. I could stop by title and drop it off at 75, right? And I was cruising out. I was meeting my mom for coffee that morning is when I was talking to the buyer. And, you know, I got it locked up for 45. So 75, they're ready to drop off title. That's 30 grand. That's 30 G's right there. So I was like, shoot. Yeah, go drop it off. Let's get it rolling. I kind of bit on the first buyer, and I had another buyer later that day, like, which does a lot of business too. He just a few hours later said, hey, can I look at it? Can I look at it? You know, maybe I could have got him up to 80, 85, you know, if I kind of waited, you know, just to make sure the buyers looked at it. You know, I didn't blast it out, right? I just sent it to a few. But the buyer that called me, I knew he was good for it, and I knew he could close. So sometimes that all it takes too. If you got a price and you got a buyer on it that you know is going to close, that's valuable in its own self. I was happy with it. I knew my numbers, so I wasn't like, oh, am I way off on my numbers? Like, no, it was a good solid deal at that price. You know, maybe I could have squeezed 5 more out of it, sold it for maybe 80. I got to go have some coffee with my mom, and they went and put earnest money in, $5,000 non-refundable. I got an email from the title company about it, and $30,000 was set to be made. I locked it up in March, and we just closed about 10 days ago, what is today? Today's July, so middle of July. So March, April, May, June, July, took about 4 months to close that thing. And that's not common. What happened was the property wasn't affixed, right? And this is probably something I should have known before. The property wasn't affixed to the land. So the mobile home was actually like a vehicle, right? We had to go through footworks to get the deed and the title and everything. So the mobile home wasn't to the property. Luckily, the previous owners owned the land also, or else that would have been a whole different deal. But we had to go to the previous owners to get the deed for it. A lot of just paperwork that came up that we were waiting for and we couldn't get. We had to go to different sources to line this all up to make sure that I got it fixed and the ownership was transferred over. Kind of a headache, just a lot of following up, making sure that the buyers are still good, that the seller is still good. But it was a little scary, right? Because I was set to make 30 grand. And it just kept dragging on. And I'm thinking like, oh, maybe the seller is going to get a different opinion, or maybe he's got a different buyer coming in now and he just wants to cancel on me. Or maybe the buyer doesn't want to buy anymore, right? So a lot of different thoughts going through my head. So I kind of babysitted everyone until the deal closed. And it finally closed about 10 days ago for $30,000. Yeah, thought I'd break it down for you guys. So quick summary, text lead that I text early March, just closed in July. They're not all going to be quick. Keep following up, keep hammering the follow-ups. I mean, I showed up. I was a young dude, but had confidence that I could deliver for them, that I was buying, you know, and I'm not buying. I've never bought a property before. I've only wholesaled. So you got to go in like you're going to take care of it. And that's what I did. And it paid me well. And plus, John got out of that situation. He was happy about it. He got $45,000 to put in his retirement. Doesn't have to deal with the renters anymore. Doesn't have to deal with fixing it up. No appraisals, no inspections. And my buyer got a great place to flip. That was the deal, guys. $30,000. Let me know if you guys like videos like this and you want me to break down more deals. I have a lot more deals that I could break down. If you guys are liking the videos, I'm still healing up from the crazy headbutt. Still got a little black eye here. Well, not black eye, just a little bruise. Nose, still a little swollen. But got the mustache going, so kind of feel like a new man. I mean, 10 days ago, I didn't have a scar or a mustache, and now I do. I don't know, I'm going to keep making these videos, guys, keep rolling stuff out. You guys haven't leave me any comments of more videos to make, so if you could do that, that would help a lot. I think these deal breakdowns are fun. They're cool. It kind of gives you guys an understanding of how the business works. If you guys like videos like this, deal breakdowns, give the video a like. A lot of you guys that watch the videos aren't subscribed. Do me a favor, click the subscribe button. I'll be having more videos coming out. Yeah, thanks guys for watching the videos. Go follow the Instagram. I'll be posting little clips of each YouTube video on there as well, making little reels like that. I don't know, trying to get the social media going a little bit. I thought, why not? But yeah, I'm gonna keep at it with the wholesale, and let me know if you guys have more questions with it, or want to see more stuff like this. I hope you guys got some value out of this video though. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.